With the 40th anniversary of Michael Jackson's album Thriller coming this November, what should be done that day is becoming a pressing question. Should it be hailed as a major event in music history? Should it be ignored because of Jackson's past sexual abuse allegations? More generally, what should we do with the music of Michael Jackson? Hello and welcome to Music WSS. I am Walt Sedman, and today we'll be exploring the intricacies of that question. What to do with the music of bad people has been a question asked with increasing frequency in recent years. More complicated to ask is what to do with the music of bad, important people, the musicians that have had too much impact to ignore. Michael Jackson epitomizes this question. Of course, there are his many hits, and it isn't unusual for modern artists to be compared to MJ, such as The Weeknd, who received these comparisons in reviews of his last album, Dawn FM. Is it right to have Jackson so present in pop culture after numerous allegations? So I ask again, what do we do with the music of Michael Jackson? I don't have a clear answer to this question. Frankly, I feel it needs to be answered by each person individually depending on their comfort level. So rather than trying to dictate an answer in this video, I'll be explaining the question in depth so that you can decide for yourself. Why do we need to ask this question? It breaks down into several parts. Why is Jackson considered a bad person? Why does it matter if music is by a bad person? Does music being by a bad person actually impact the music? Jackson was accused of child sexual abuse on 4 separate occasions. The first was in 1993 with Jordan Chandler, at the time a 14-year-old boy. LAPD was not able to find enough evidence to file criminal charges. The Chandler family filed a lawsuit which was settled out of court. The settlement was the choice of Jackson's insurance company over the objections of Jackson and his legal team. The company had the right to do this, but it leaves a financial transfer the only thing settled with the first accusation. 2003 saw a documentary focused on Jackson's friendship with another boy who had been living at Jackson's compound with his family, and the leaking of Jordan Chandler's sworn declaration that detailed his abuse. The combination encouraged Santa Barbara's Sheriff's Department and District Attorney to investigate Jackson again. After interviewing the documentary family, sheriffs raided Jackson's compound and arrested Jackson. In 2005, the criminal trial People v. Jackson began. I'd like to highlight some of the witnesses for the defense: Macaulay Culkin, Wade Robson, Brett Barnes, George Lopez, Jay Leno, and Chris Tucker. Tucker, Lopez, and Leno were called to the stand in order to bring suspicion to the documentary family's credibility. Culkin, Robeson, and Barnes all admitted to having literally shared a bed with Jackson and denied there being any sexual actions during those times. Jackson was found not guilty. The story seems to end here, but then why would I make the video? In 2013, Robeson sued the Jackson estate for sexual abuse. He had been interviewed in 1993 at age 10 and testified in 2005 at age 22 that he had not been abused. Robeson said that he didn't fully understand what had happened to him until he had a child of his own. Robeson's change of position should not be questioned. The sexual abuse would have included grooming that would have left Robeson in a position to do whatever Jackson asked. That grooming also would have influenced Robeson's testimony in 2005. Robeson's suit was not enough to overturn the previous verdict, but it does call it into question. James Safechuck filed suit in 2014. Unfortunately, both Safechuck and Robeson's suits were thrown out due to passing the statute of limitations. This leaves us in an unresolved position on Jackson's accusations. Yes, a court case found him not guilty, but there have been 2 accusations since then, one by a witness from the trial. So here we are. If we consider Jackson a bad man, then we may be cutting off the legacy of a fantastic musician. If we don't, though, we are ignoring the accusations and may be tacitly supporting what happened to them and possibly many others. Why does it matter if music is by a bad person? Quite a bit of scholarly ink has been still debating if art can be separated from the artist. While some of the writers have argued yes, they can be separated, I don't believe the answer is so clear-cut. The degree a creation can be separated from the creator depends on what the creation is and how the creator interacts with it after creation. A painting isn't normally all that related to the painter until matters of style are considered. Classical music is a similar situation. A composer generally has little to no impact on the performance of a piece, but that composer did create the music that is being performed. In pop music, the artist is far more actively attached to a song by being a crucial part of the performance. Covers don't exist in classical music, just different performances. But when a pop artist performs a song that did not originate, it is a cover, maintaining the song's connection to the original artist. There is no way to separate a pop song from the artist. Because they can't be separated, listening to an artist's music supports them, both financially through streams and sales, and more generally as a fan. While the support is generally a good thing, when the artist is a bad person, then their actions are being supported as well. And with the resources of some of these artists, their deeds can be at impressive scales. Also why it matters, beyond support, is that music is generally seen as related to the character of a person. This connection has been referred to as the musical mystique. Originally coined by major musicologist Richard Taruskin, the phrase is put to great use in musicologist William Cheng's book, Loving Music Till It Hurts. The musical mystique centers on the idea that liking good music makes someone a good person. This seems like a reasonable thought. In order to properly appreciate great works of art, you need to be a good, kind, caring person. If you aren't, then the meaning of the art would be lost on you. But it doesn't work that way. The Nazis loved classical music, and many a tyrant kept personal musicians. Despite this, people still think it works this way. Cheng uses the musical mystique to examine music's ability, well really music listeners' ability, to humanize, dehumanize, and superhumanize. Humanize, like an idiot with an appreciation of opera, must not be too down. Dehumanize, like youths that listen to rap being violent and threatening. Before going further, I want to add something. As we have it now, the musical mystique says that liking good music makes someone a good person. Let's flip that around. Good people like good music. As a slight adjustment to that, good people make good music. Conversely, bad people would make bad music. But as you might already be expecting, this doesn't hold up. There are plenty of cases of unambiguously bad people having made good music, such as anti-Semite Richard Wagner, or the 1960s pop producer Phil Spector, who murdered a woman and died in prison. The works of bad people are not relegated to being bad music. So then, what would superhumanizing a person because of their musical abilities look like? Maybe giving someone a royal title because of their music. The musical mystique is built on a faulty relationship. Quality of music has no direct connection to quality of person. But many people think that connection holds firm. So criticisms of an artist or their music are seen as criticizing both. Until it is widely known that the connection does not exist, discussions like this video cover a touchy topic, to put it mildly. This is why the question of what to do with Michael Jackson is so complicated. He wasn't an unambiguously bad person, with the accusations left in limbo. His music is good and incredibly influential. Thriller, the album, generated 7 top 10 hits, 3 of which were key to the growth of music videos. So what can we do? We could stop playing Jackson's music. This would work for day-to-day listening, but Jackson is too ingrained in modern culture to be removed so easily. As I said, music videos became what they are because of Jackson. Artists today are compared to Jackson, and Jackson's music still inspires many artists. It would be impossible to expunge Jackson from our culture, but reducing how often his music is played would reduce how much support he and his estate still directly receive. We also wouldn't be lacking on music to listen to. There are countless artists, and while they don't have the mega hits of Jackson, they are worth listening to. Also possible is changing how we view Jackson. The king of pop is arguably viewed like a god, superhumanized by the musical mystique, but he didn't make that music alone. On Thriller, Jackson wrote 4 of the 9 songs, with 4 other songwriters writing the other 5. Jackson was also the producer on only the songs he wrote. The very accomplished Quincy Jones was the producer for every track. There were also the musicians and the recording team. A pop hit can be seen as a godly product when attributed to one artist, but it is the result of efforts from a team. And I don't mean the team should become a pantheon. The artist should be seen as a human. It's not unusual to attribute works to a single person, though. It's why great man history has such a strong hold in music. A piece of any scale is generally considered the work of one person. In classical, the composer gets the credit, but that work needs far more than one person to be brought to fruition, often an approximately 60-person orchestra. I'm not trying to say that Jackson should be lowered to human status as much as he should not be raised to the divine. Superhumanizing someone makes them untouchable. They are expected to be perfect, and if they're accused of doing something wrong, the accuser must be mistaken. Turning artists and celebrities into gods gives them more power over people than anyone should have. Even the best people make mistakes, and we need to be able to accept that. If you don't expect a person to be perfect at all times, it won't be so shocking when they aren't. If something happens, then it'll be the mistake of a fallible human. If you're not trying to defend a god, then you can consider what happened and react appropriately. What I'm getting at is to stop worshipping celebrities, because you can't worship a person, only a god. And that is one of the ways we can eventually reach a point where we can stop asking what to do with the music of bad people, either by not letting as many bad people become famous, or by not defending famous people that are turning bad. Stop the superhumanization. Don't blindly follow someone. You don't need to be suspicious, just aware. Aware of how they act around others, aware of how they differ from an average person. And sometimes you need to question what they do and why they do it. Because being invited to someone's compound for a month and having your child sleep in the same bed as the person that invited you should make you question the person's motives. There are benign eccentricities, and then there are far more concerning behaviors. One can be chalked up to having to do weird things to get the creative juices flowing. The other is a reason to avoid an artist. So get used to listening with your ears and eyes open and your brain on. I hope this will inform your thinking on what to do with the music of bad people, whether they be Michael Jackson or anyone else. If you would like to share your thinking, please do so in the comments, but I ask you to do so in a civil manner. Thank you for watching.